What is going on, everybody? My name is Dakota, and welcome back to Cologne. Today, by special request, we're going to be looking at and reviewing Parfums de Marly SEDLEY. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so before we get into the video, there's actually something I'd like to touch on real quick. I haven't posted in a little while. I've had way too much stuff going on outside of this, and so yeah, that's my bad on that. But the channel's still been growing. The channel's still been getting, still been evolving, stuff like that. Which, sincerely, thank you to everyone who's subscribing and stuff like that. And we're actually getting close to 400 subs. We're going to be doing another giveaway at 400 subs. But this time, rather than doing what I've done the past one or two, I want to know what y'all would like to get. Like, what would y'all, the viewers, like to receive in a giveaway? Now, it can't be nothing crazy. It can't be nothing too far out there. But if it's something I feel like I can do, I will definitely give it my best try. So I would love to take suggestions on that. I think we're like 20, 25 subs away from 400 right now. So the moment we hit 400, we're going to be doing another giveaway. So stay tuned for that. But I wanted to get that out of the way before we got too far into the video. But with that being said, we got SEDLEY right here. Let's go ahead and jump into this. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is the thing that I love to do the most, and it's going to be showing off the atomizers on this. And these Parfum de Marly's bottles are really good quality. The atomizers on these always tend to be amazing, and this one is no less exception. Has a good center burst, has a good spread. This is a beautifully blended fragrance that smells absolutely wonderful. This is probably one of my favorite fresh summer fragrances, and it's one that I will reach for every summer no matter what. When it's in the air, when you first kind of get it floating around, there's a lot of citrus in here, there's some mint in here, but the thing that I like the most is it has like a tangy orange. Like, it's not like a bitter citrus or anything like that, but it's got like an orange vibe to it that just really works when it first kind of gets in the air. So as we do now, as we always like to do, I'm going to go ahead and put a spray right there on the wrist. And as this gets to drying down, I'm going to go over the notes, get this bottle spinning up, and we'll be back in a second. Alrighty, we're going to dive straight into these notes. The top notes on this are going to be lemon, mint, bergamot, grapefruit, and mandarin orange. And when you first spray this, you get a tiny hit of mint, but you do get a lot of that lemon and grapefruit. And I love the way they did the orange on this because it doesn't give you some of that like bittery citrus. It's very well blended. The middle notes on this are going to be lavender, rosemary, geranium, and obolanum. I hope I said that word right. And I love the use of lavender in this and the use of rosemary. It gives you a nice floral relief from some of that citrus. Something about this, just they knew how to blend this in to make this work. The base notes on this are going to be ambroxan, sandalwood, cashmeran, vetiver, cedar, and patchouli. And when this does dry down to the base, this fragrance doesn't have a huge change to it, but you get a little bit of that patchouli, you get some of that sandalwood. But the biggest thing that I take from it is actually going to be out of the middle notes. To me, when this dries down, you're left with a beautifully blended citrusy floral with a tiny hint of that sandalwood. And to me, that's what I love about the most. It's not overly complicated, but it's just a beautifully well blended fragrance. Alrighty, and we are back. So I gave this one about 30 minutes to dry down. There's not a massive change in between the opening spray all the way to the dry down. But one thing I will say is when it comes to this fragrance, because this is going to be kind of labeled as like a blue fragrance, it's definitely going to be a summertime fragrance and stuff like that. But it's got enough oomph. You could probably wear this any time of the year, honestly, even into the fall and winter months. But I think the thing I love about this the most is for like a blue fragrance, it doesn't have like your traditional, it smells clean and soapy. This one kind of goes a little different of a direction. This one's more floral based. It's got a good amount of citrus in here. It's got a little bit of vetiver. It's a little bit of a woody note down on the bottom. But the way this is blended, it's very natural. It's very appealing. There's not a whole lot you can really complain about this fragrance, or at least in my book, I can't complain a whole lot about it. Because for me, I've never been one that's loved real citrusy fragrances because they don't tend to last on my skin for some reason. But this is one of the few that I have in my collection that for a citrus-based fragrance does amazing. This thing has like top shelf performance for me. And I will use that to segue into the next part, and that is going to be price, availability, and performance. So price of this retail is going to be about $350. I don't recommend buying this from retail because I don't recommend spending that much money on any fragrance, actually. Discounters, you can find this one on sale sometimes for like that $250 to $270 range, depending. Some discounters will have them all the way down to like $210, which whenever that does happen, that's amazing. The best option for this is actually going to be Facebook groups and fragrance swap places and stuff like that, because you can find this for about that 170-ish range for a brand new. If you get a partial, which is, that's actually how I got this one. I did not get this one brand new. This was a very high partial, and I was able to pick this up for like 130 bucks. And that's a steal of a deal for this fragrance for the quality and everything you get. So now that we touched on that, we'll get into the performance side of this. So for this being a blue kind of freshy based fragrance, the performance on this is rock solid. Longevity on my skin, I get anywhere from like that 6 to 9 hour range on this. And for most, kind of freshy blue floral style fragrances, I don't get that ever. Normally, even the ones that I love the most, I normally only get like 3 or 4 hours out of those. I really don't have like that powerhouse freshy. Probably one of the most famous ones would be like YEDP or like Bleu de Chanel, something like that. I don't get that kind of performance that I get on these. Like this one is an all-day fragrance for me. Those I get in that 5 or 6 hour range, and that's probably why I like this one so much, is because it does smell so natural and it gives that all-day performance. Sillage on this is a big sillage. The sillage on this is about that 2 to 3 foot. And honestly, if you do want to spray this one a little heavy, it is a little more mass appealing than some of the other PDMs, and they're a more mass appealing line. But this one is just a little bit more mass appealing. So if you did spray this one a little heavier, you could have all day sillage on this. You could leave a trail everywhere you go. And then the projection on this is very, very good. This is awesome projection. You get that 2 to 3 foot projection even. For this being a very mass appealed fragrance, it's a very loud fragrance. It jumps off the skin. It's very bold. And because it is so natural, because it is such a beautiful blend on this, everybody's gonna love this. It's rare you see people that don't like SEDLEY, and I know there's people out there that don't, but it's just, that's kind of a rare thing for me. And I've already touched on it, but I'll say it again: the when and the where you would wear this. This could easily be a date fragrance. For me, where this falls for me is definitely a hot day summer fragrance. This is an all day, every day. This is a year-round fragrance in my book. Just that's with my collection, with however it goes. That's kind of where it falls for me, is somewhere in there. So with all that being said, if I had to rate this fragrance right now, I would give this a genuine 10 out of 10. I know I'm probably going to catch a little bit of flack on that, because it seems like when I do a lot of the Parfums de Marley's, I do score them very high. To me, Parfums de Marley, as far as like a niche brand, they are more mass appealing as far as niche goes, but I don't necessarily view that as a bad thing. But the blends that they use in all of their fragrances, the way they do their stuff, the presentation you get, the quality bottle you get, the atomizer, when you look at the whole thing, it's really, really hard to compete with a lot of their stuff, because it's got a mass appealing, but it's still a slightly uniqueness to it. There is a lot of it. Now, there's some of the fragrances that don't, but fragrances like, SEDLEY, Harrod, as everybody knows, that's my favorite. Wajon, Habden, stuff like that. Some of those fragrances, Galloway, even the one that's chilling up there, those don't really smell just like something else. So they are kind of unique standalones. But at the same time, they still have like a mass appealing vibe to them. To me, it's kind of a really good blend of both worlds, to where you get what feels to me like top shelf quality, because they're very natural smelling. They use good oils. You get all day performance out of all their fragrances. I don't really have any fragrance from PDM that doesn't tend to perform very well. So to me, that's got to be weighed into the conversation whenever you talk about Parfums de Marley. I do think that is going to get us wrapped up on this one right here. I'm going to get this bottle one more time. This is Parfums de Marley SEDLEY. Just a quick recap. This is going to be a 10 out of 10 summer fragrance for me. This is probably one of, if not my favorite summer fragrances. This is an easy wear. That is an easy buy. It's a very safe buy, especially if you're trying to branch out into the world of niche and stuff like that. So do not be afraid to buy this one. It is a little pricey, so whenever you first get into this, I would suggest getting maybe a decant or something, just to make sure. Because anytime you spend that kind of hard-earned money on something like this, you want to make sure you're going to love it. So always decant something out like this first, just so that way you kind of know what you're getting into. But that is going to get us wrapped up for today. As always, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for sticking around, for subscribing, for staying tuned to listen to these videos and stuff like that. And also, don't forget, we're creeping up really close into that 400 sub range. Let me know what y'all want to see as a giveaway, and if I can make it happen, I'll do my best to do that. But as always, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.